I just don't even know how to start this.
Neither. I'm so excited.
Tiffany is a superior person to look up to in the worship world. And like to want to strive to be like. Because people always tell you like, oh, don't be like jealous of other people's stuff. And I'm like, not saying that we're like jealous of anything Tiffany has, but we aspire to be able to write and lead worship and do these things as like pure as it all comes across from her.
Yeah. And don't mistake any of it for being like, obviously I feel like, I don't know her, but I feel like based on what we do know about her, she wouldn't even probably want us to say all this stuff. Because she'd probably feel like too humble about
Disclaimer, she would. We'll put this at the beginning of the video, probably.
Yeah. And I don't want any of it to be mistaken for like
us just,
like praising her. What she does is not about her, and we don't want to make it something that she doesn't want it to be.
Right.
Like, if I were her as a worship leader, I don't want people to say, oh, she's so amazing, because obviously she's not trying to bring attention to herself. She's trying to bring attention to the Lord. And so don't mistake it for us like praising her or thinking that she's perfect, because we know she's not perfect. We know she probably has her own problems and her own stuff.
Her own life. The whole point of this video is, like, there are certain people that we feel like we look up to way more than anybody else. And Tiffany just happens to be one of those people. Don't mistake it for anything else. But, I mean, this is like...
It's also just really exciting to us. Like, we're just really excited to hear it.
Like, aside from anything else, this is what we have waited years for.
It's just like, you're right. I mean, we've been talking about it ever since we started this.
Ever since we started this channel. And the thing is, I never thought we'd get this. I thought, oh, she's just a singer at Elevation. She's never going to be able to release her own music. But no, she's just the best. And we're getting a whole album.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited.
An album is like 10 songs or more.
Yeah.
The fact that the most we've ever gotten was 5 at once.
I'm just so excited. Like, I'm going to have new songs to listen to all the time. And I know I'm going to love them. Like, I just know I am.
If I were to go back in time and start this whole story from a place, Elevation was up and coming. They had just really, Here I Was in Heaven was super popular, and I was obsessed with them. I loved every one of their songs. And then it was announced Hallelujah Here Below was coming out. I remember listening to every one of the songs. I was so excited. And I had a screen recorded from Elevation's YouTube, their live stream, a girl singing Better Word in church. And I was like, this song is so good. When the album came out, I had expected the girl that had always sang it in church, because I'd seen it multiple times, to sing the song. When I got on there, I knew everyone, I thought. And it was someone's voice that I'd never heard. And I was like, who sang this on the album? At this point, I was madly obsessed with Jenna, which I still am. But Still God had just come out, and I had DM'd her something on Instagram about Still God is the best song I've ever heard in my life. And I said, who sang Better Word? She responded to me. I wish I could find this on my phone, but it was on my old Instagram. She said, a new girl on our team, Tiff. That's what she said. And I was like, oh. Well, then I went and found Tiffany Hammer. And I was like, oh, this is the girl who sang it. And I saw she had gone to Southeastern.
Can we, take a step back and think, I totally, forgot about Tiffany Hammer.
We thought it was going to be so hard to start calling her
I know, but now
Hudson.
Tiffany Hudson is,
it's
her name to me. Like, Hammer is in the far back files of my brain.
So then when we started listening to her, if you have been a fan since Old Church Basement, our first reaction video, our first album that we reacted to, if you've been a fan of and you've watched any of our videos, you know.
She comes up in almost every video.
Every video. But you know how monumental this is to us.
Yes. So if you've been following, you've been waiting for this too, because we talk about it all the time.
We talk about it all the time.
We have a whole segment in a video. It's called Tiffany
Our reaction to this? So let's just go into this. Tiffany posted a few weeks ago a picture in Jason Ingram's studio in Nashville. If you don't know Jason Ingram, he's produced for every person in Christian music. He's worked on it with Lauren Daigle. He did a lot of music with Amanda Cook. All these people, which is just crazy because he can do every genre. When she posted with Jason Ingram, I was like, crap. If she would have posted with David Leonard or some of these other producers in Christian music, you can genre-nize and oh, this is going to be a country or a live instrument sounding thing. You say this is going to be a pop Christian album.
Yeah.
No, it could literally
be anything.
Anything.
I know, and that's how is he the first one that gets to say anything about this?
Jason Ingram posted on Instagram and he said, just finished a few days in the studio with this gift of a human. First album. Thank God that he said that.
I
Not
know,
like first music or anything.
I know.
Like we know it's
project,
an album.
It's an album. It's a whole album. How is her first project ever a whole album? How?
First album from Tiffany Hudson, coming your way soon. This was November 18th.
She's so beautiful too. We can't leave that out.
Okay, she commented like, now, this is the old Swiftie in me coming out. Because everything's not an Easter egg with everyone. It's just something I have to get. Tiffany says, I'm crying literal tears. In stars, tears.
I don't feel like that.
No, I'm serious. Like, Tiffany Hudson, if you watch this, is Tears like the name of the album? Because that would be such a... You know that she cried
I know.
writing these songs. You know, tears. Specific exclamation point. No, it's in stars. Tears means something.
Okay.
I'm crying literal tears. So honored a legend like you would work with a rookie like me. Oh, we love that you view yourself that way. But no, that's not the case. No.
Okay, maybe you're right. Like, maybe you're right.
I'm really going to be clowning. Obviously, we follow Tiffany on everything, and we follow her husband, too. Mate Hudson. Okay, so on November 30th, which is immediately following this time in the recording studio, Mate posted on Instagram and said, some screen grabs. Here's the post, some screen grabs. Maybe a little video on the way. And it's him filming Tiffany on the black sand beach in Iceland. And I am dead set convinced this is for a music video for her album.
Yeah, no, it probably is.
And if the music video is fitting the vibes of these pictures, we're gonna have some tears shed.
Oh, tears.
Okay?
Tears.
Okay, so you go first. What do you think it's gonna be?
There's, like, different ways it could go. It could be a very, like... close that we reacted to that Madison sang. Like, that vibe I could see.
Yes.
Like being light or like
happy.
Like, yes, just kind of like fun but also like very like wordy. Like
I feel like it's gonna be very wordy.
Like it could be very like production heavy and like stuff like that. You know, I could see it being something.
See, this is why she's thrown us such a curveball, because she has songs like Everything that she wrote.
Like that.
Right, like that could be it. But then she has Quiet.
So, right.
Like there's the Quiet. It could be the Quiet Studio, or the whole album could be the Quiet Stripped, which...
So then
I don't know which one I would choose.
I know. So, but then it could also be like I'm imagining kind of like a Stephanie Gretzinger, like, out of hiding, just like really like emotional, like piano-y.
God help us all.
You know, like,
if she releases like a bunch of lambs.
A bunch of, yes, like I know it could be that. But here's my like main thing that I'm thinking is that she's going to have like all of it. And I know that sounds so like me being like wishy-washy,
I think she should have all of it.
but I think that's just how she is.
If she does it,
can do all of it, and I think she will. I think she'll have some fun like bops in there.
I think
but also some like rip your heart out stuff.
Okay, but you know, while I'm so excited to listen to this music, I'm just so excited, and I know this is like the freak in me coming out. I'm so excited to know who wrote these songs with her. If she wrote any of them by herself.
Oh, she did.
I know.
Do you know what I want?
But like, who wrote them with her? Is she gonna feature someone on this album? Like, what if Stephanie Gretzinger's featured on this? Like, she's at Legacy all the time, like doing worship stuff with them. Like, can you imagine if like one of those type of people, like, who else goes? Like Madison. Is that
where Madison Binion went?
Yeah, that's where she goes to church. Like, can you know? Because she does that same style as Elevation.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
And so I'm like, but.
Do you know what I need though?
But like Amanda Cook was with Jason Ingram the other day, and because she's always working with him, and Tiffany and Amanda are friends, and you know that they wrote on names, and like Amanda sang with her.
So good at like writing. She could be on several of the songs
easily. Can you imagine if we got like? I don't want to get my hopes up and clown. Can you imagine if we get like studio versions? Or a version of any of these songs we got live, like that she wrote. Like, can you imagine if we got like the names like recorded in a studio with like some like violin stuff?
She could do that.
She could easily do that.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's just going to be all of it, because like, how could she confine herself like that? But do you know? This is what I keep trying to say. The love song that she wrote to her husband, she posted a tiny little clip of, like a year ago, like maybe more. months ago. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Just take me back to the days where we stayed up too late just to talk the whole night through when we were too nervous. I know the whole thing. To say what we wanted, but deep down we both knew. Darling, I think it says darling. Darling, I've loved falling in love with you. I need that. I need the whole song so much. Like, that was such a good song, and I need the whole thing. What if that's on the album? I'll die if that's on the album, which it won't be.
Here's another question. Now, this is just also the weirdo in me being here. Will this, so, you know, every album that's released is released through someone. Is this an independent? Like, is she going to release this as copyright Tiffany Hudson, or is it going to be Elevation Worship Records?
Right.
Or is it like Sparrow Records?
It's never done that before, right?
Never individual artists.
But we did mention that we think they're going to start doing
a label.
That, which...
Because Stephen Furtick said something in one of their services about Elevation Worship is wanting to expand their stuff, and they needed a new building to do that, which I'm sure they've done by now. That was like 2 or 3 years ago. But I'm like, if they were planning then, like, we're going to start a label and bring in a bunch of artists, which is like what they did.
They started putting... I think it was because they started putting, like, featuring... blank.
Right, they changed all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's like, and John Sullivan is now, like, Elevation Worship and Tiffany Hudson. So, like, when you look at names now, if you search up Tiffany on Spotify, Tiffany has her own artist page that's underneath. And so...
But she could be signed with Elevation.
Right, she's signed with Elevation, or, I mean, she's Tiffany Hudson. I mean, right. I know that she doesn't think this, but, you know, we do. If she was Sparrow Records, like, where Carrie and, like, all these other people
Right,
are.
like what, yeah.
Like, all the big names, or, like, BMI, or, like, there's so many of these different, like, prominent label group. That's where Amanda Cook is. And, like, you know, I don't know. Yeah. Is she with Elevation for this? Or is she, like, on Elevation's worship team, but now signed with her own label?
Yeah. The way she leads worship is such, like, non-performance-y. Which is so different than everyone else.
You can tell.
Yeah. And she actually is so, like, and that is not just, like, us being like, oh, we love her, we're biased her. You can, like, discern that in your spirit about other people, other worship leaders.
There are certain worship leaders that, and I don't want to get came for in the comments because I know that it's so easy for me, but there are certain worship leaders that you can tell are not just in it for leading worship. Mm-hmm. And when you look at Tiffany, I think that you can tell that she's not just in it for, like, everything else, that she's just leading worship. And she's so good at it.
Yes, she's so good. She's an amazing singer.
Amazing singer that just helps. But, like, and we've said it before, but there are certain people that you can look at that are, like, similar to Tiffany, like Carrie Job. Like, I feel the same way about her.
They have a different presence.
The word I would think of is, and I don't mean it in the sense of this, but there's just such a purity that you can tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pure. It's just who they are, how they lead worship, that, like, and you can tell even in the songs they write. Like, you can notice a song, like, if Tiffany wrote on it. Like,
we're so good at it these days.
Yeah, and we can tell. It's like we know if she wrote on it or not, just because you can tell just by, like, the attitude of the song. Like, she's just...
And if it wasn't confirmed to us just in the songs, when they blessed us with that 3-minute video of her talking about Lamb, and she's literally breaking down crying,
I know,
saying,
it's like, you know that that's really her heart.
Because he's still worthy of it so well and so clean. And you have
to draw attention to that because it's so hard to find that, especially in the Christian industry today. It's hard to find that, like, purity and that genuinity.
No, it's true.
Authenticity. That's a good word. But
it's so authentic.
It's hard to find, and it's like, we want to draw attention to people like that, to notice, like, that, because that's
one of the things we want to do.
That's, like, who we want to be. Those are the kinds of people that we want to look up to as worship leaders and, like, watch and learn from, and it's, like... And so it's really exciting.
Well, because the reality is, and it is sad, but there are a lot of people, and I'm not saying in the Christian worship world, because we made the decision a long time ago that we were more targeting the Christian worship world than the Christian music world. And they are two very different things.
Yeah.
Because there are Christian radio artists that they'll say it themselves that they're not writing worship music. They're writing fun Christian songs to listen to, and that's great.
Because we need
that needs to be a thing. A fun Christian song to listen to needs to be something.
And it doesn't mean it's not worshiping your heart.
Yes,
but
that's
it's
right.
It's not a song you do in church. And
it's not a song you do in church. But there are people that specifically target that. And the reality is, and the sad thing is, not all of them are in it just for worshiping the Lord.
Right.
a lot of them are in it because
they find something that they can do that is like their niche, and then they go with it.
And they go with it. And they do a good job, and it's great, and we need more worship songs, and that's fantastic. But there are some people that you can tell are in it for the sole purpose of, if there was not a monetary issue behind it, if there was not any type of popularity behind it, if there was no other reason except just them sitting in their piano playing and worshiping by themselves, they are just in it for the worship leading.
You can tell that is how she is just by the way she we only see her on social media.
But even from there,
we know like secondhand knowledge of what it's like to be around her.
Right. People that we know who know Tiffany are like she's so awesome in person and so real.
But we only know what we see on social media. But you can even tell by someone's social media presence. Like, that's a thing. Like, we've heard things like, oh, they're not who they are on social media. Social media, and like
we don't know that firsthand.
But it is.
Whatever.
But it is. Like, I mean, the things that she chooses to share, it's not, oh, look at me, look what I get to do. It's like the things that she writes, on her Instagram posts, and the things that she shares about her life, like, I love watching that. The things that she shares on her stories, like, of other people's posts, it's like, it's like she's just being real, and she's choosing to share like truth and life
and not to draw attention to it. But she does post things that the majority of other worship leaders are too scared to post and won't talk about. She has posted stuff leaning more onto the spiritual, like the Pentecostally side does seem to come out in her a little bit in her posts, and a lot of people are too scared to post about that stuff. Not to go into it because I'll probably wind up cutting a bunch of this out, but like worship leaders who do believe in the infilling of the Holy Spirit still and stuff like that, and just purity and not being worldly. Like, there's so many of them that publicly post their worldliness on their stories, but also there are those that are starting to speak out against it.
It's refreshing to be able to have someone like that, especially because she's in a very popular like worship group, and I feel like that God has put her in that place to use her.
I agree.
And like, she is different, even than, not to cut anybody else down, but she is different even than the people that she works with. I feel like God has put her there in the middle of that to be this kind of influence and like to inspire people like us, like see that there can be people who do things for the right reasons.
Yes, that's so good. If you completely disregard now this purity, spiritual, like fantastic, you can tell person side and just throw that away, her songs are so good.
They're so good.
They're so good. Are you kidding me? Can you believe that we still have a song called With You? Like, are you joking that that's a song we sing in church?
It's such a good song. That's probably my favorite song to sing. The first time I ever met Mitchell, not the first time I ever met him, but like the first time I ever came to the church to just sing, he said, you know, you really sound like this one girl, and this one part of this one song that she sings, and it was With You. And then after that, I started singing it in the church all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I still do. And I love it. Not to say that I sound like Tiffany, because I don't.
No.
But like,
well, you're fantastic. This is going to be my number one listen to thing for
I know.
2023.
It will.
And I don't, really, like, to cap it off, because we're going to take that part and put it at the beginning.
Oh, yes, we need to.
I mean, just to cap it off, this is so exciting for us.
Yeah.
Aside from anything else. Like, don't take it, like Cooper said, like, don't take it as we're just giving her all the praise, because we're praising, like, how awesome she is at her gift. But the reality is, we're also just really excited. And we're so happy she gets to, can you imagine how excited she has to be?
I know. I mean,
we're so happy. We get to listen to this.
Like, it will be something that I know is going to, like, bless me. Like, I know it. Okay.
It cannot in any way whatsoever. If it's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life, it will not disappoint.
No, I know. Because some people just have that anointing.
It's going to be so good.
It's going to be good. But she's an amazing songwriter, so I just know it's going to be good. I just know. I'm so excited.
My final thing to say.
Your third final point.
I'm thinking, because we only have 40 seconds left, I'm thinking that we're gonna get a sad, wordy, poetic, more stringsy type of album than we would get a
sad
poppy
as
album.
In like the musical personality, not as in like
sad songs. Like right. Lamb, like I'll like tear up to it.
Yeah, right. I think that it's gonna be kind of a mixture. I think there will definitely be that. I think the whole thing will definitely be very emotional. I think there will be a variety of like personality to it though.
I agree. Listen, leave below what you think.
Yes!
We're so excited.
Like, share, subscribe,
Everything
comment,
else we have 10 seconds. Bye.
Bye.